up everyone, let's quickly go over the market for this week. Well, first of all, we got euro dollar, and for euro dollar we made a further push to the upside. However, currently I'm expecting a little bit of a drop. I'm expecting a little bit of a pullback back to the downside. All the supply zones are still mitigated and price overall is still very bullish. But for today at least, I'm expecting a little bit of a pullback at least until the end of the day. That mainly has to do with the DXY. Like if you look at the DXY, we saw we had that further push to the downside. And currently we are almost inside of our demand zone. Now, if we go to the daily time frame, what we can see is that price action overall is still bearish. So I am still expecting a little bit more of a drop on the DXY. Currently the 4 hour is bearish and the daily is also bearish. We are also having like a little bit of a switch zone in here. So we have this zone because this one was taken out, right? And price can still make a retracement to there. At least from now, I'm still expecting a little bit of a pullback back to the downside, since we already had this huge rally down. So a pullback would be very healthy. But overall, if we go to the weekly time frame, we can also see that price action is still very bearish. And only like really weekly value is all the way below in there. So for now, it makes sense for me if price starts to go down slowly. But maybe for today, we can get like a little bit of that pullback back to the upside. Especially if you go to the 4 hour in here, then it would make sense for me if we make a little pullback and then continue that downward trend. Now that said, moving over to AUDUSD, regarding AUDUSD, it is still fairly bullish. However, we are still on top of this trend line right now. Now if we go to the 4 hour time frame, we can see the similar trend line. This one is located in here. Overall, price action is still very bullish. Now if we go to the weekly time frame, we can see in here too the price action is still very bullish. So that would make sense for us too. If the DXY starts dropping, continuing the trend, then the AUDUSD can also just continue this weekly overall trend change. And yeah, for now fairly bullish on the AUDUSD, but we might see a little bit of a further pullback back to the downside. If we might remove this zone, then we can just get that further push up into our supply zone. So if this one is removed, then we might see a further move into the supply zones in there. That said, moving over to GBPUSD, what we're seeing is that further push to the upside. However, also in here, I'm expecting a little bit of a pullback back to the downside, especially because we came out of our supply zone in here. There's still a fresh value. But yeah, same thing in here. Overall price action is still very bullish. Now, if we go to the weekly time frame real quick, we can see a similar thing. Price action is bullish, but a little bit of pullback might be expected for the next few hours or for the end of this day or maybe tomorrow or something like that. It would make sense if price just maybe make a pullback and hopefully get back into our demand zone below in here. But for now, yeah, a small pullback on the lower time frames is expected. That said, moving over to NZDUSD, and we broke the demand zone on NZDUSD. We created a switch zone. And for now, yeah, I think you'll be a little bit late if you want to enter in here on the 15 minute, for example. But overall, it is still a nice short to take and to ride it further to the downside. Like I already said at the beginning of this week, like we might see that further push down. And even for now, I'm expecting a little bit more of a further push down on SDUSD, especially because there's not really any demand, any daily demand in here. The only real demand is located in here. So we got a little bit of a value. But mainly the bigger demand zones are located within this candle, right? So a little bit further and then we might see another pullback. But for now, I am still bearish on SDUSD until we reach at least into these levels in here and hopefully at least until that demand zone. Moving over to gold, and regarding gold, we saw a new all-time high. We saw that further push to the upside, especially because news yesterday was bullish for the dollar. So we saw that further push to the upside. What we're seeing right now is that we have this demand zone. So we have this one, we have that located in here. And for now, yeah, price action is still bullish. Some people might like to take a short, but I don't like to do that around the all-time highs. I had this one as a demo, but it was not any trade that I took. But for now, price action is still bullish. You know, like if we go to the 50 minute, what we can see is that we had a high in here being taken out, and currently this one is in control. So might even look for some longs, but for now it's a little bit tricky since price action is already highly bullish. Yeah, so we might see another pullback, especially because the DXY already dropped. But for now, it looks fairly good, actually, to be honest. If we go to the 5 minute in here, we can see another trend line in here. This one can easily be taken out. And if we take this trend line out, we might easily just fly up from here. Like for now, all candles are still green, especially we are at the new all-time high. So for now, yeah, any longs would make sense overall, of course. But yeah, like I said, for other pairs too, a pullback might be likely, might not, especially since the gold is pretty bullish since we took the new autumn high. But for now, yeah, for the day traders, I would look for some longs probably in here, especially because we got this high in here being taken out. We got a new change of character, and now we got a trend line in here. So we might eventually break this trend line, then go back into a newly created demand zone, for example, like this one. And yeah, we might be flying from here. Who knows? I think this one can easily be broken, so that's also what I'm watching for today. Now, going over to the last pair, to the Bitcoin. What we're seeing on the Bitcoin right now is that we had also this push up. Eventually, we closed our trade around break even. We got a further push to the upside, and for now, yeah, a pullback is also expected on the Bitcoin. I'm not saying I'm hugely bullish or something right now, because we are just playing ping pong. We are just back in the range. Nothing really changed, like since the start of this year, basically, since at least since February. We are just stuck in this range and not really a lot to do. I'm getting bullish if we're gonna take out these supply zones, but for the bigger overall demand zones and the bigger buy orders, I really like price to see going back to like 45. 50k levels at least in here, hopefully even lower, but for now, yeah, I'm watching these levels in here. So this supply zone overall and this 75 level, and we have another demand zone below in here. I will be watching that. It is still ping pong, nothing to be really bullish or super bearish about right now, but yeah, overall I'm just watching those zones, see if they can be removed. Price going back in here, might get a small long from here. But yeah, range trading, ping pong, however you want to call it, I'm doing that now, and I'm just watching the chart like that. So that said, I'm gonna close this video, and I will see you guys again tomorrow.